Hey buddy, it's Aaronator here. We got our third episode of our Columbus Blue Jackets franchise mode here in the PS4, guys. In the last episode, we went and started the year one season with the Columbus Blue Jackets. In this episode, we will look to hopefully sim up to the trade deadline. First of all, guys, I do want to apologize for I guess the length of time in between these videos. Lately, tons of school has been happening, and it's going to continue to happen. And one major thing is that I had a hockey tournament on the weekend, so that's why I actually did try to record the episode, but I was rushing it a lot, and I just felt, you know what, I need to think more about what I actually want to do with the team, and then actually go through with it. So a lot of you guys have been lately talking about in the comment section on how we aren't going to be a playoff team, or we shouldn't go for the playoffs, and that we should just try and, I guess, tank for Heischer and Patrick and such. You didn't really mention too much about those guys, but I wouldn't mind necessarily tanking for those guys. The one thing is, though, I think with you look at our stats here on the top right corner there, 89, 93 defense, and 90 goalie. I think we're a deep enough team pretty much that we can be a playoff team, and I don't want to just already set up for failure in year one. I want to just continue to work our way up. If we miss the playoffs by a bit, or if we start to trail off a bit near the trade deadline, then we can make some trades to maybe unload some players and unload some cap. But for right now, I'm going to try and make the playoffs, because that's what the whole point of doing like a retooling stage is to eventually make the playoffs, maybe with a younger team, and then win for years to come. So one thing I want to do here is a lot of you guys have been saying maybe buy out Clarkson. I'm not sure if I should buy him out or retain cap on him, but for one thing, he is an 80 plus overall player, so I'm going to call him up and I'm going to see how he actually performs in the GM mode, because I mean in real life we know he's not a great player anymore, and he's not really in the lineup, I don't think, for Columbus, but I mean he may play different in the GM. I don't usually see him play that much better, but we're going to try and see how Clarkson does do in that fourth line role as a grinder. So hopefully that works out. Let's quickly make sure that he's not anywhere else, because I think he really just is more he can be somewhat of a defensive all-around player, but he's really just a goon. Let's be honest, it's David Clarkson. So we're going to try and see if we can win with this team for now, and if things do start going south, then we will end up making a couple trades, because a lot of you guys saying like Dubinsky, especially him being 30 years old and his potential now being exact top 9, that is cap hit. I mean, realistically, it's not something to be proud of. But I mean, he has been doing pretty well in the first couple of games. I mean, 16.6 goals plus 10 in 21 games. That's pretty good for a first line center. I mean, not really offensive, but just all around. This is a strong offensive core. It's solid, but defense, I mean, we have lots of depth in it. And we're not going to have a lot of chances to keep this kind of a deep defensive core. So let's see how this turns out. Plus, we have a great goalie in Bobrovsky, who, if he plays well, I mean, even if we don't have a great team, if the goalie's playing well, then we can go on a big role here. So that's what I'm going to try and do. We're going to see if we can win with this team right now. And, of course, if we aren't doing well, then we can make some trades. I'd like to know what you guys think of either buying out Clarkson or retaining cap on him in a trade. I probably won't move him till the draft, because deadline a bit less. I don't know. I just want to, that way we can know how much, maybe after the draft, like after the re-signs and we're in free agency, we can figure out how much we can buy him out for, and what the retained cap will be. So I want to. I don't mind buying him out. I just want to make sure that the cap hit is as low as possible. And going through 1 year of his contract, the buyout won't be for 8 years of his contract. It'll be 6 years now. Except I think we'd have to. I don't think we can buy him out till the off season. So it should be okay. He would like to thank us for the call up. We won't regret it. Hopefully, we don't have to regret it, and he can start playing like an NHL player. You have to prove you can stay up here. I'll have my eye on you, and I will, because I'm going to need him to play solid defensively and physically. I don't mind him injuring the other players and being a goon and all that, but I want him to be a plus player and maybe chip in on offense, play solid. As long as he's playing solid defense and he's a bit of a minus, I mean, there's going to be minus players, obviously, and As long as if we're winning, we should be okay. So hopefully this team can continue to get it done. We've been just above 500. You can see our record is 12-9-0. Let's see if we can get some more wins to start off this episode. That would be really nice. Colorado, we end up getting a 4-3 loss. So Clarkson's liking his ice time, but I mean, obviously, if we start to lose here, then we're going to maybe have to make some changes. But I do like our team, guys. You see, we get 2 wins against Arizona. That's huge. Brokehurst in Cleveland. We can do best lines because, like, Milano and Bjorkstrand are pretty much at the top of the AHL lineup anyways. So, yeah, we can go best lines for the AHL. Now, 2 games in a row here on Eastern Conference against Eastern Conference teams, Detroit and the Islanders. These would be huge wins to get as well. Detroit 16-11-1. We end up getting a loss. Islanders are struggling, just like in real life, so the rosters are somewhat realistic. And we get a 3-1 loss. That's unfortunate. So we come back. We're right now below 500 for this month. Can we get a win here against Edmonton? There you go, shootout win. That's huge. Cleveland, Elvis Merzlikins. Elvis is injured. He's not in the building anymore, so best lines. We'll just continue on. We're halfway through the month. We're even. I'd like to get more wins, though, okay? That's going to be a big thing. And if we need to take some of these games to overtime, there's no harm in doing that. All these points are going to matter in the end. So, especially against Western Conference teams, if we can get points, that's what matters, especially on the road. I like to be strong at home. On the road, if we can get points, that would be great. Calgary, we end up winning 6-3. Lots of offense there. Vancouver is a 500 team, so I think we should be able to get a win. There's no reason why we can't. Let's go forwards in the States for 1 month. And we come out with a 7-1 victory. That's a huge win. There you go, boys. We're getting some wins now. Seth Jones, that's a big injury. December 26th, so he won't be out for too long. But let's just quickly check and see where the next player will go in. Top line power play and top line PK. So we're gonna need to see who is another defenseman that is not getting as much time. Savard. He's on the PK already, but the power play, definitely going to get Savard in there. So let's see. Who can play? Natavara. Yeah, he can play PK. And then, don't worry, we're not going to put him there. It's just because that way it makes it easier to move around the lines. Savard, I think he has been getting some goals. So if we put him on the power play, he has 8 goals already. So maybe he can get some stuff done here. Yeah, put him on the power play. PK, Natavara. We'll get Murray in there because he's playing in our top 6 right now. So we'll do that. Actually, he'll probably end up being top 4, but we'll see. Natavara, we'll move him down to the top 6. And then Savard is a -2 with 8 goals. Jack Johnson. You know what? Let's see. Werenski, +10. How many points does he have? He might be good to move the puck to Werenski. So you know what? Let's get a more offensive pairing. I think Werenski and Savard can get some points on the top line. Werenski, even being 19 at 87 overall, his growth shouldn't move down because even though he is a top 4 defenseman, just as long as he's playing good, it doesn't really matter how much ice time we give him. Let's just give him a good amount and it should be okay. More of a defensive second line there, more physical guys, Murray and Johnson. Hopefully they can shut it down there. Nodavara and Prout will take hold of the third D line, and that should be good for now. I just wanted to show you guys that even though it is short term, that is a big loss from Seth Jones. So if we can get some wins here with him out, that was one big win, 3-0 against LA, and he's back. So Jones is back. There you go. We got to win. So you know what? He will probably still be a bit injured, but you know what? Let's continue to play these lines. Let's go. Savard hasn't been doing too great with Johnson, so let's try Savard and Werenski, Johnson and Jones, and then Prout and Murray. See how that works out for now. And let's hope we can continue to get some wins. Pittsburgh and Montreal, both at home, we get a point. That is nice. January 22nd, wrist sprain for Zach Werenski. So that's a major loss on the D end for us. So let's switch up these lines. Here, I'll cut it out so then you guys, we can just get right into it. So guys, I finished up the line changes, and these are our defense lines now. Natavara is going to be on the top 6. He's actually going to be on the penalty kill just because I thought, why not give the kid some time? His defensive awareness is pretty decent at 85 with morale boost, so And I mean, he is a young defenseman, so let's give him some time, see if he can play well on the PK. I also decided to put Foligno there instead of, Carlson. So, because Carlson's defensive stats aren't that great right now, I know eventually sometimes in GM modes he has a better defensive stats, but for now we're going to put Foligno there because he is a veteran and a good defensive player. Hopefully that'll help our penalty kill. And then power play, I decided to move Savard up instead of Johnson because Savard does have quite a few goals this season. Hopefully he continue on the power play. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get right back into the sim. So a 7-4 victory against Montreal, that's huge. Jones has recovered from an injury, so that's nice to hear. 19-12-1, this team is rolling a much more than earlier on in the season. We get another win against Boston. Game against Winnipeg, we lose 5-0. So not a great win or a great play team. Whatever. Not a great game there. We get another loss, it seems. Game against Minnesota, we lose 4-1. So those are two straight bigger losses. We might have to make some changes if we continue to lose like that. Another Western Conference team. Edmonton is struggling. Let's shut them down this game. Whoever's in net. Korpisalo hasn't been doing that great. He has decent stats, but record has not been great. So whoever's in net, even if it's Korpisalo, I'd really hope that he can start winning some more games to help our team and hopefully help his growth. That's a big win. I'm guessing that was Bobrovsky. I don't want to assume things, but we do have a player meeting here, so let's go do that. Get to player morale. There you go. And let's see, Dubinsky, leader. You know, I have to admit, I'm thrilled with my playing time lately. Let's see how you played. Yeah, you've played really well, Dubinsky, so let's see. Great, we've found a good balance. It seems to work. Good, I'm glad to hear it. Keep up the hard work. There are a lot of guys in that locker room working hard to earn some of your ice time. Let's try to be calming to him. Great, we have found a good balance that seems to work because we have been winning lately. I mean, aside from those other games, but hopefully that works out. He was not affected one way or another, so that's okay. Locker room chemistry is 82%, so solid. I know that if you get it really high in this game, in 90s, even if you have a medium team, usually you win a lot. Locker room chemistry is a lot more important than people think. So if we can keep it up there, that's huge. That's also why I decided to move Clarkson up. That's one impact, is that he still had morale interactions with the NHL players up on the squad. If you notice, Dubinsky was actually one of his buddies. So hopefully that boosted the locker room chemistry, and that might be why we're being more successful. But let's sim the month of January, see how that works out. Some Eastern Conference opponents now. Washington, they're doing pretty decent. We lose 1-0. No offense that game. Come on, boys. We got to get some offense for our goalie here. Played stellar that game. We got to come and play for him. 3-2 victory in a shootout. Stellar game there. Trade block. We can take these guys off the block, the draft picks, and then McElhinney. That's okay. I know it doesn't matter too much because, I mean, the surplus there and the wants and stuff. Now we're struggling to get offense. Even that shootout game, it took us to the shootout. Anderson is available to play in the team's next game. Let's continue with this team. We have had a bit of bad stretch, but that happens. Hopefully we can turn back around. Just keep the lines the same. We have been rolling pretty well. Werenski is back, though. Yeah, I want to get Werenski back. So let me quickly put Werenski back in the lineup, guys. So, guys, I finished up the lines, and Zach Werenski is now going to be playing on the top line with Seth Jones because earlier on in the season when Werenski wasn't injured and Jones wasn't injured, they were playing pretty well on the top four line, and we want like the guys who are playing to actually play on the top line. They want them to get the most minutes. So although they are young and we may be rushing them into that top line role, these are good young defensemen that play well together. So why not try them on the top line? Actually, one thing I want to do, you know what? Let's move Werenski back down. Give him a solid defenseman in Dalton Prout, just so then he gets back from injury. But as soon as that happens, unless we go on a huge winning streak, we're going to keep Murray and Jones right there. Power play, I decided to put Werenski again on the top power play line. And let's see, PK, I also decided to give him PK time, because he actually has very good defensive stats as well. So I really like Werenski's stats. He really has developed into quite a nice defenseman. I also was looking around, and Korpisalo is still continuing to not get wins, which I'm kind of concerned about because I do want him to grow. But you know what? We're just gonna have to accept it for what it is right now. There's not much we can do. I mean, bringing up McElhinney may not really help our squad right now, so we just gotta hope for the best and hope Korpisalo can start getting some more wins. Maybe trading for a backup wouldn't be horrible at the deadline if we are going to be a playoff team. Once again, we struggle to get offense, but then we come up with 5 goals, so that's a huge win against Florida. Let's see. Let's move around. You know what? It doesn't hurt to scout goalies, and I know there's a lot of Finnish goalies, so there's 9 goalies there. Let's go scout some of them. We'll go 3 weeks because we need less time for goalies. We'll move around instead of not only drafting forwards. Because year 1 usually does have quite a few decent amount of prospects in each position. So we'll see how that works out. We got a point against Carolina, which is nice. We get a loss against Ottawa, so we are starting to lose a bit more. Best lines for Cleveland. And if we continue to lose, come on, guys, we got to get a win against Carolina. They are really struggling. We need to get a win. There you go, 3-1 victory. In Ottawa, there you go, a 6-3 win. So I'm glad I stuck with the team a bit more. Islanders, that's a 4-0 loss. Nashville, can we get a win? Seth Jones against his old team. There you go, 4-0 win. So we're still a bit, ever since when we started this video, we've gotten a couple more wins, but we did go on a bit of a losing streak there in January. A couple losses, but we end up getting another win against the Rangers, who were decent. So we're 27-20-2. Let's go check out all the stats. I did say I was going to put Werenski back up, but yeah, sure, I'll do that quickly right now because we'll see how they're playing. Atkinson's a bit with a day-to-day injury. Johnson's playing like an 88 overall, which is good. Those guys don't really have good chemistry together. Savard and what's his face, Jack Johnson. So maybe we can figure out which guys play well together. Seth Jones, Werenski, Campbell, and Hartnell. So maybe Campbell, I noticed, was one of our biggest minus players on the 4th line. Although he is playing PK, we're gonna have to check out all the team stats, see how that's working out. Werenski, let's play him with Seth Jones. These are the top guys for the future. And what I'm gonna do is Tavara, Prout. Who do you play well with? Korpisalo, Jones. Everyone's liking Jones. Saad, Gagne, Foligno, Jenner. Saad, Gagne, Foligno, Clarkson. Let's try Murray with Savard, see how that works out. Johnson is playing like an 80. It's tough because we have a lot of defensemen here, but these guys don't play well together. These guys do. So who should we put on the same lines? And who should play where? Savard is 10 goals this season, but he is a -8. I want him to get goals. You know what? More offensive defensive. I'm going to try putting him on the bottom pairing. He is still getting some time on the power. He's not getting too much time. Johnson's getting more time on the PK and not on the power play. They're not getting much time. So whatever happens, we're going to need to give him more ice time. Savard and Murray will try there, and then Johnson and Prout. We'll see if they can get something done. We're going to have to change things up around on the defense and see what works and what doesn't. Hartnell. So the 3rd line's doing better. I noticed when I was doing some line changes, they were a bit of minuses, but it's okay. 2nd line's doing decent, and 1st line is continuing to get offense, even with all those 2-way forwards. 4th line has picked it up a bit more as well. So, the team is doing better. Let's see how Korpisalo's doing. 4 wins, 12 games played. So the last time I checked him, he was 11 games played and 3 wins. So that's decent. And Bobrovsky's still getting some wins. But we're not quite. We're going to have to. Let's go a bit more in depth and actually look at the whole team in general. We'll go team stats first and then player stats. And then I might actually just finish the video right there. We'll see what happens. Entire league. Winnipeg is the top team. So what I said about the rosters being realistic, I kind of take that back because real life, they need a goalie. I guess Hellebuck's playing good then. I don't know. Goals against doesn't seem that crazy. They're just getting offense. Probably the line A and such. Let's see. There's injuries, so you never know. Some of these teams that are a bit down there maybe not doing as well. So entire league, let's check where we are in the whole Eastern Conference. Columbus 7th. And if we get a win, we move up to around 5th, but it's still pretty tight near even Boston. Do we have games in hand? Yeah, we have 4 games on hand on Boston, 3 on Washington. No, what am I saying? No, we only have 1 on Washington, but we do have some games in hand on these teams, so we should be getting wins here. This would be huge for us. It's even the top team, Florida. If we got 2 wins, we're within 5 points of them. So, first place in the conference is not that far off, boys. So we can definitely make some noise this year still. But it's still pretty tight, so we'll have to see what happens later on in the year. Offensively, are we getting enough offense? We're in the middle of the pack. We're actually 2.7 is pretty good. Defensively, we are a defensive team. Yeah, we should be. So top 6 in the league. That's good to see. We're actually in the very middle of the league, like middle. So I kind of did suspect we'd be there. Power play, yeah, power play does need to be fixed up. We'll need to get more offensive players there. You guys can suggest which players maybe should get some more power play time on defense and on offense. We'll see what lines can work, because that, if we can get more power play goals, that'll help us get more offense, and then hopefully we can get more wins, obviously, because our defense is pretty solid. Time shorthanded, I'm guessing. Oh, actually, no, I realize we are not taking too many penalties. Clarkson and Hartnell, and I realize Campbell actually has like 100 penalty minutes probably. So, I mean, even with all those penalties, we're still a pretty disciplined team. Penalty kill is still pretty strong there, around 84%. So that's good to see. We are more of a home team. We have lost more on the road, so maybe if we can pick up our road record a bit more, that'd be nice. Last 10, Anaheim is in third, and they're not doing too great. Vancouver's on a bit of a streak. So our team, once again, yeah, we're like around in the middle, so it's not great. We have some games in hand on these teams, like I said, though. So if we can start getting some more offense, I think that would definitely help our team. Approximately 40 points in 50 games for Dubinsky and Saad and Foligno, all of them tied for points. So the top line's doing decent. Almost all 20 goal scorers. Probably going to be 25 goal scorers from each of them, I'd imagine, maybe. 50 games. Yeah, 20 to 25 goals for each of them. That would be pretty realistic. They're doing very solid this year. Points as well. Jenner, 15 goals, 32 points. Atkinson isn't getting as much as I expected, so what's up with that? I don't know. I mean, he's a sniper. I guess that line isn't doing as great as I thought. Wenberg isn't doing amazing. Gagne has some offense, so maybe we should give Gagne a chance. He has 10 goals, and he's not even on power play, so let me know what you guys think about putting Gagne and who should come out. Hartnell has 8 goals, 21 points. I think I've seen him be pretty offensive, so should he go on there? Calvert, he's a sniper. You guys can let me know about all these things. Savard, he was on second power play time. Second power play line. We'll see what happens with that. We have all of our defensemen are getting a decent amount of points, except Proud, obviously. Actually, he has 3 goals, so I'd kind of take that back. But it's interesting. Some guys aren't getting offense. Like Jones only has 1 goal, so maybe we need to switch things up a bit on the power play. I think if we fix our power play, it'll help our offense a lot. So goalies, let's go a bit in depth. Korpisalo does have 1 shutout. Bobrovsky has 6. So Bobrovsky is actually doing very solid this year. Has great stats. So we'll continue to play him, and hopefully Korpisalo. He's 4-5. So you know what? Actually, when it looks like 12-4, he's just come in for Bobrovsky a couple times. But you know, he's actually not doing too bad. So if we can get a couple more wins in there, if we can get both of our goalies as positive goalies, that would be nice to see, because he's actually not doing bad. So hopefully we can get some more wins. I think if we do get more offense, I think that will definitely help us. Who's the plus players? Plus 19 for Jones. So the top power play, the top defensive lines are doing well. Johnson, Savard, yeah, you see, I think those minuses were more from the beginning of the season when they were playing together on top line. They just don't have chemistry together. So we'll have to figure out which lines work with who. Murray's a plus 9, so I think I will edit I will finish up the episode there. I was kind of looking to go to the trade deadline, but you know what? We're doing pretty stellar. I just want to know what you guys think. I'll probably hopefully get the next episode out pretty soon here, but that will be the end of the episode. I hope you guys did enjoy this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one.